What's the biggest misconception about The View and its panel?
That there's actually drama off air. We kind of keep it at the table, at least this current cast. It's,
right.
You know, we'll fight it out on air, but then we have fun afterward. We'll get drinks. We enjoy each other.
Oh, I love that.
The View has been running for 25 seasons. It ranked as the #1 daily network and syndicated talk show and news program for 2 seasons. The New York Times even called it, quote, the most important political TV show in America. The hosts should be grateful for the on-air drama because it's part of what keeps it popular. Co-hosts Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Sarah Haynes, Alyssa Farah Griffin, and Ana Navarro don't share party affiliations and rarely agree with each other's. Let's talk about the only conservative host on The View and why her co-hosts hate her. Alyssa's early life and career. Alyssa Farah Griffin was born in L.A. on June 15, 1989. She was essentially born into the journalism life, with her mother and father both writing and editing for magazines. She also says she was, quote, raised in the right-wing media. When she graduated from Bella Vista High School in 2007, she went on to higher education. She got a bachelor's degree in journalism and public policy from Patrick Henry College. She wrote articles for her father's far-right website, WorldNet Daily, as their special Washington correspondent. In 2010, she became the media intern for Congressman Tom McClintock. That helped her land a 1-year position as an associate producer on The Laura Ingraham Show. Alyssa became the spokesman for the College National Republican Committee during the 2012 presidential election cycle. In 2014, she became the press secretary for Mark Meadows and was communications director for the Freedom Caucus in the House of Representatives. Alyssa became a special assistant to the president and press secretary to Vice President Mike Pence in September 2017. She became press secretary to the Department of Defense in 2019 after the position had been open for almost a year. She was the youngest person to ever get the position. She was also Director of Media Affairs. She became the Director of Strategic Communications April 7, 2020. She resigned that role December 3rd. Alyssa spoke publicly the day before January 6, 2021, condemning Trump supporters for harassing Senator Mitt Romney. She also spoke against the January 6 attack. On January 8th, she blamed Trump for instigating it and suggested he should resign. Alyssa was interviewed on CNN on February 7, 2021. She questioned whether impeaching Trump a second time was constitutional and felt censuring was better. At the time, she said it was an open question. Alyssa joined CNN as a political contributor in 2021. She was also a fellow of the Georgetown Institute of Politics and Public Service during the spring of 2022. She made several guest appearances on The View in 2021 and 22. She made 29 appearances in season 25 before being appointed a permanent co-host during its 26th season in 2022. As producer Brian Tata said, quote, we promised to take a little time to fill the seat, and we have found the right match and a welcome addition to the show with Alyssa. She's willing to share her unique political experience and brings a strong conservative perspective while holding her own in tough debates with her co-stars and guests on both sides of the aisle. Alyssa's already had plenty of political accomplishments, but she was honored to add The View to her resume. She hopes to encourage women in political roles and believes the show helps. Her political opinions weren't always popular, though. They even bled into her personal life. She married Justin Griffin in November 2021. Several family members, including her father and stepmother, refused to attend the wedding because of her opinions about Trump. There is one other Republican. There is one other co-host on The View who considers herself a Republican. Ana Navarro was born to a wealthy family in Nicaragua, December 28, 1971. They moved to the U.S. in 1980 to escape political turmoil in their home country, though her father stayed behind to fight with the Contras against the Sandinista government there. She said Ronald Reagan's support of the Contras made her a lifelong Republican. She earned a bachelor's degree in Latin American Studies and Political Science in 1993 from the University of Miami. She earned a Juris Doctor from St. Thomas University School of Law in 1997. Ana appeared on various news programs on CNN, ABC, and Telemundo before joining The View in 2013. She started as a weekly guest host in 2018 and a permanent co-host in 2022. Her addition was praised, saying, quote, Ana has made an indelible impact on The View since the first time she joined us at the table. She is a strong, independent thinker with savvy insight, not to mention she is whip smart and fiercely funny. We're happy to officially welcome her as a co-host. Alyssa was glad to have another Republican viewpoint on the show, saying,
I think that we can be a little reductive in how we look at politics. It's, red and blue, Republican, Democrat, but there's a whole host of nuance in between in both of the parties. So I think, Anna speaks for kind of a different generation. She'd served different administrations than I had.
She also earned Emmy nominations for her work in 2020, 2022, and 2024. She served in administrations such as with Jeb Bush. She served as national co-chair of the Hispanic Advocacy Council for John McCain in 2008 and John Huntsman in 2012. Anna is a member of the Republican Party but calls herself a centrist. She's also a vocal critic of Donald Trump. She's voted for the Democratic candidate before because of their stances. They include Hillary Clinton, Andrew Gillum, and Joe Biden. She also locally supports LGBTQ+ rights and immigration actions and is pro-choice. She married Al Cardenas on March 2, 2019. She earned the Great Immigrants Award in 2020 at the Carnegie Corporation of New York. Fights on The View. The View is the Desperate Housewives of political talk shows. The girls' differing views lead to plenty of fights and spats that only bring in more viewers. As Sunny said about Alyssa,
there's a respectful disagreement, but it's not personal.
If you're going to be sitting right next to me, because the chair is right next to me, you've got to be able to swing with it. And I'm going to swing hard at you. And she can take a punch, and I like that.
Alyssa versus Sunny. The hosts took big swings during a Hot Topics discussion. They were talking about Mike Pence's presidential candidacy when Sunny brought up Alyssa's work as his employee and as an employee of Donald Trump. She said she couldn't defend a man she'd worked for. Alyssa became uncomfortable and butted in, saying Sunny would never vote for a Republican. Sunny brought the discussion back to Mike's approval rating. She said it was so low because of how he'd handled the AIDS and later the COVID crises, saying a lot of people died because of him. The audience gasped and Alyssa felt she had to respond. It became a back-and-forth match with Joy Behar trying to tell them not to make it personal. Alyssa said, quote, "Are you going to give me a chance to answer? I mean, this is absurd. This is not what this show is about. This is Barbara Walters' legacy. Let a woman speak." Sarah Haynes tried to join in to make a point, but that only made Alyssa, who felt she'd been constantly interrupted, angrier. Whoopi Goldberg served as moderator and decided to go to a commercial. It was one of the biggest shouting matches the co-hosts ever had on the show. Whoopi versus Alyssa. Whoopi may have been the moderator, but she's also gotten into a few fights. She and Alyssa argued over President Joe Biden's ability to serve another term. The former said she'd support him until he couldn't do the job anymore. The latter said that might come sooner than later. Alyssa pointed to Biden's less than impressive recent debate. She said there could be a sweep in the House and Senate. She said Kamala Harris, or, quote, a young, energetic Democrat, would have a better chance. Sarah Haynes gave a similar statement. She said she'd vote for Biden, but doesn't believe he can win if conditions continue. Whoopi interjected to say this lack of appearances was because he'd been working, but Alyssa cut her off and said she wasn't sure that was true. She added even NATO leaders weren't sure about his mental state. Whoopi cut back in, saying Alyssa was being ageist. Alyssa said she thought it was time to pass the baton to the new generation. This may have been a more organized, less vitriolic argument, but it was definitely a back and forth. Now it's time to hear from you. Who's your favorite co-host on The View? Let us know in the comments section below.